What is going on, Bucs fans and CFP fans? Evan Wanish here, back at you with another video talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today, we're going to be continuing our series on the positional group reviews. This wraps up the offense today. So that means that you can go check out on the Cannon Fire Podcast YouTube channel right now. You can check out the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers, the tight ends. And now today we're covering the offensive line. So this will wrap up the offensive side of the ball for the reviews. But if you want to check out the reviews for those positional groups, feel free to head over to Cannon Fire Podcast YouTube channel and check them out. But today we'll be taking a look at the Bucs offensive line. It's going to be a little bit more of a longer video than these reviews have been because you got a lot of bases to cover here. We're going to be taking a look at the unit in itself, which was pretty strong in my opinion in 2024, and also what's ahead, right? And I don't really think there's many questions for this group, but I do think there are some that you're going to need to have some answers on. So with that being said, let's get right into it. And we're going to be talking about first the tackles. All right, Tristan Wirfs and Luke Goedeke, left tackle, right tackle. Both were fantastic in 2024 for the Buccaneers. Tristan Wirfs earns an All-Pro. Luke Goedeke was great. Actually, battled a concussion a little bit earlier in the season, missed some games, but I think his presence was missed when the Buccaneers were without him, especially in that Detroit game when Justin School comes in and really struggles against Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, I understand it's Aiden Hutchinson, but they were really missing Luke Goedeke at that point. So I do think his presence was missed, and he showed what his value is basically to this football team. And great strides from Luke Goedeke here. In year 3, really making big strides. And the thing at guard did not work, right? After his rookie season, it was not good. Was decent last year at right tackle, which was his natural position in college. And now this year is taking it to a whole other level. So Luke Goedeke, I think he could have another stellar season coming up here. As for Tristan Wirfs, again, we're not really going to be discussing much about Tristan Wirfs because he's so fantastic, right? We know what he brings to the table. We know how good he is. The transition from right tackle to left tackle is just unbelievable. I mean, you didn't really think he could get much better, right? Because he was such a good right tackle, but it seems like he's just even better at left tackle. And it's amazing the progression that he has shown. The guards, Cody Mauch and Ben Bredeson. Ben Bredeson was a free agent that the Buccaneers had signed from the New York Giants. Cody Mauch entering his second year with the team after being a second-round pick. So Mauch, I thought, made some really big strides. Had an okay rookie season, but I thought he was one of the guys on this team that really made a jump from year 1 to year 2. And I think that really benefited the Buccaneers, both in the run and pass protection. So I do think Cody Mauch's development is important, and I'm very excited to see what year 3 brings for him, because I always view year 3 as a pivotal year in development for these guys. Like, that's when those guys are finally going to show up, and be able to show you what they're going to be for their careers. Basically, I like to give prospects, 3 years, and Mauch, the jump he had from year 1 to year 2. If he can have another jump, we could be talking about one of the top guards in the football. So Mauch was definitely a good spot for the Buccaneers. As for Bredeson, it was a solid free agency signing. Solid value signing there. Buccaneers signed to a 1-year deal. We'll see what the future holds, right? That's the one question along this Buccaneers offensive line. The rest of these guys are under contract for 2025. That is the one question along this offensive line. Do the Buccaneers elect to bring back Ben Bredeson? Do they elect to move on, find somebody else? We'll have to wait and see. I think it may depend on what his market is as well, because he could have some suitors. He was solid for the Buccaneers. He could have some suitors, and maybe it's a little bit more expensive than the Buccaneers are willing to pay. Maybe they go out, they try and find a veteran there. But regardless, a good signing by the front office to bring in Ben Bredeson to fill in that other guard spot. And, Sua Opeta was the other guy who they brought in, was hoping to compete with Bredeson. Unfortunately, Opeta, suffered a torn ACL early on in training camp, so sort of gave Bredeson the job there, but hey, he was still pretty solid at it. So we'll see what the future holds there. And then center Graham Barton, who had his ups and downs as a rookie. I think he had more good than bad, but I am, very excited to see the progression that Barton can have from year 1 to year 2. I think he could have a Cody Mauch type jump where you're like, yeah, his rookie season was decent, but then your second year, after next season, you're going to be looking at it and saying, wow, like, Graham Barton was really freaking good. And I know a lot of people, are going to be criticizing the botch, in that playoff game where he sort of messed up the cadence there a little bit. I understand that rookie mistake there. He'll learn from that. I do Bleav in Ben Bredesen, Graham Barton. There's a lot of B's here. I do Bleav in Graham Barton as its team's long-term center, and I do think the Buccaneers do as well. So I have no doubts in my mind that Graham Barton is going to be just fine, and I think that the development of him is going to be an important factor in the Buccaneers' future success of this offensive line too. Like I said, these guys are locked up, in terms of contracts, but Luke Goedeke's contract is coming up soon. And then you'll have Cody Mauch right behind him. And, so there's going to be maybe some change in the future along this offensive line. So I think developing a guy like Barton at that center spot is pretty important there, especially with having, the fifth-year option that you'll eventually have. But this unit, look, this was one of the Buccaneers' strengths, right? This was one of the Buccaneers' strengths here in the 2024 season. They were really good in pass protection, but then also, we want to talk about Liam Cohen or Bucky Irving or Rashad White as being, the people responsible for the Buccaneers run game turnaround. And that's true, right? They do deserve a lot of credit there for turning around the Buccaneers run game. But I don't think people are talking about enough about the offensive line here, that they deserve a ton of credit for improving the Buccaneers run game as well, because after all, they are the ones blocking. So I do think, they've shown massive improvements there. And I think that's something that the Buccaneers are hoping to continue in 2025, even with a new offensive coordinator. So I'm not expecting much change along this group. Maybe depth-wise, Robert Hainsey's a free agent. I don't know if I expect him back. I could see a team giving him a 1 or 2 year deal at a pretty high number that the Bucs just probably wouldn't be able or wouldn't be willing to give him as a backup. And I think a team could offer him a starting role. So not sure about Hainsey. But for the most part, this team, I would think that this offensive line is going to be intact. I mean, I would imagine they try and bring back Ben Bredesen, but if they can't, they would replace him, whether it be through the draft or free agency. I'm not sure, but I don't expect there to be much change along this unit here. And there really shouldn't be, because, again, this was one of the strengths of the Buccaneers the entire season. So the offensive line, very rarely did the Bucs offensive line fail this team. And I just think with the amount of young guys that they have, and Mauch going into his third year, Goedeke going into his fourth, Barton going into his second, they have room to grow even. So if all those guys make jumps, you could see one of, if not the best offensive line in the NFL in Tampa Bay next season. I truly do Bleav that the potential of this group here is pretty high. And I wouldn't really, you don't have to fix what ain't broken. And I don't think the Buccaneers are going to. So we'll see what happens with Ben Bredesen. That's the one question, right, about whether that one of those guard spots opens up to be a potential change there. But I think the Buccaneers would like that continuity. So I think they'd like to bring Bredesen back. That is, like I said, a lot of B's. Tough to say. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What did you guys think of the offensive line performance this season? What did you think of guys like Cody Mauch and Luke Goedeke and Graham Barton and their developments here in the future, right? What does the future hold for this group? Do you think that the Buccaneers should bring back Ben Bredesen? If not, who do you think the Buccaneers should target, whether it's free agency or the draft? Always curious to hear those things. But thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And go Bucs.